Today we're exploring the wild woman archetype. You can call her Lilith, you can call her crazy girls, an embodiment of chaos that we men so often encounter and are captivated by, but can also, there's a fine line between our greatest creative inspiration and just pure destruction. That practically might look like a girl that you meet cutting your dick off, burning your apartment down, keying your car, making allegations that weren't actually true, but just, to get your attention back. These things have been known to happen, and it's both an ancient and a modern thing. But that the purest form of that chaotic feminine is not for the faint of heart, but there is treasures in there for those that know how to sail those troubled waters. Stan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think what you described right now is the extreme cases, right? Most of these Lilith archetype women, they very intelligent, so they call quote unquote toxicity are um much and beautifully hidden, so you don't even notice how she manipulates you. You know, there is a joke. It says like, "I let him manipulate I manipulate him the way that he thinks that his manipulations works on me." So
Wow.
this these women, they way more intelligent than hysterical girls who are burning your house, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's extreme case, and this it shows desperation, you know. She doesn't know what to do. These Lilith archetype girls, they basically put you in the deep waters, as Habib said about Conor McGregor. And in these deep waters, you kind of facing yourself, you know, and that's the most interesting and beautiful part of that. Most of them are unaware that they are like this, you know. It's not coming from the good background of their life. Usually, it comes because of many disappointments in men and parents and people in general, right? In love, especially. But there is like two type of women, right? Those who go into the victimhood and they just blame everyone around, and there is this dangerous sharks, I would call them. But I adore these dangerous sharks, honestly. I can say that if she doesn't have these qualities, what would you learn with her, right? Because it's not about she's teaching you, right? But about you being in the extreme situation when she creates alarms in your nervous system, and you have choices. You can leave her, you can, I don't know, course correct if
Yeah.
you want, which is rarely works. And there is third option, you just like, okay, I will do something for myself, about myself. And that reflection, you basically, if you working on yourself in that point, you become the mirror, right, for her. And she sees this broken parts and her own manipulations and the things that she been presenting herself uh, differently, right? And then she might, there is, I mean, in general, in relationship, nobody can course correct anyone, right? You just can be the mirror, you know, always saying like, yeah, dear, I hear your subjective view, but there is my point of view, right? And that's the thing, not course correcting and saying like, don't be like that. It's bullshit. It's never gonna work because women very stubborn creatures. They will never buy this shit. They follow when you are the mirror, right? When you say
Mhm.
like, no, 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 truth was like this, you know, no need to brainwashing me. I love you, dear, but truth was like this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It
and
sounds like you're saying, Stan, that there is the forms of destruction or of negative impact can be much more subtle than something explicitly super destructive, like burning an apartment down. So that might, what are some of the consequences? Let's say of not understanding that this is possible, of the girl that looks so innocent and good on the surface, before you get into a relationship or marriage with her, right? And then yours reveals some true colors that you were not aware of before.
little
Financial
pretty demon.
consequences. Yeah. The most innocent snowflake on the surface that was not scheming maliciously necessarily, but there is some aspect of being in the feminine nature to, for example, putting men to the test, seeing
Hmm.
if you can take a punch. Stan, you were telling me funny stories about your time in Italy when your girl who because she respected you so much
Uh,
went and flirted with every single guy in your face, checking covertly if you had a reaction, and you just had to stay uh, stone cold.
yeah.
Because you're seeing if you are who you say you are and present yourself as.
Yes, that's also true. Yes. But that's what you ask, you know. This is the price you pay for being in this relationship, you know, because we also have our friend Alex who has a relationship of very tranquil and calm level. They don't encounter these problems. They don't need to tease each other this way, you know. So that's one of these possible ways, right? But with the example that you gave from my previous experiences, yeah, I mean, if you love her, you will stay with her, and you're like, yeah, that's I'm tired of this, but okay, let's go, let's see, because you basically why she's doing this because you pretty much doing something like that, right? Or she knows the potential that you might have other women in your life, right? So if you would be just an average nice guy, right? She would never do that. And yeah, that's exactly the what she's told me. She told me after the situation, she's like, I feel like you don't give a fuck. You're always cold-blooded. Like whatever I do, it's not working on you. And I'm like, oh dear, if you only know what is going on inside, it's just not showing you.
They don't show you doesn't mean it's not having an
Yes.
effect.
But vulnerability also very powerful thing, you know? And people underestimate that. It's just that the problem. mm, in both of the cases, you can be over vulnerable, right? And it's not gonna work because uh, she doesn't want to have the burden on her shoulders, right? Of you being too emotional or whatever. And the second part, if you too much cold-blooded, right? Or you too unavailable and etc. At one point, she might find someone who is way easier than to dealing with this puzzle, right? At first, it might be interesting. The same for us, right? The puzzle is always interesting, but if it goes for a very long period, you just getting tired out of this puzzle, right? Not every one of us is the mad scientist who committed to spend 75 years in his laboratory crafting something. It's like most of the people, they after a couple weeks, months, they like, hey, fuck it. Well, yeah, there is some people who stays for years, right? But I think it's going always going to the same direction.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think of a specific case of a guy that we uh, met a few months ago, Stan,
Mm.
who basically he was doing extremely well financially, but because of marriage, but because of rushing into something that he or did not understand fully,
Um,
ended up in this situation where he, because of the consequences of underestimating or misunderstanding or not understanding enough the potentialities of this feminine nature, mm, is in a situation where he can't even make it to an important event that we're attending right now.
mhm.
And he's a great guy. He would have loved to be here, but he can't because of the consequences of those actions. So, Sam, what would you recommend? And where would a guy even begin to study you could say the dark feminine, perhaps, or the dark sides of what is possible? Like, give some women an inch and they will take an entire mile, or your entire soul and your entire future too.
Yeah, as David X used to say, give her palm, she will take whole hand.
Right. So, where
Let's.
do you even begin? But also, where to study this without becoming resentful of women? We've talked many times about, let's take quote unquote red pill guys, understand women, but they hate women.
Mm-hmm.
They develop a resentment. They understand women, but they harbor a deep hatred or a fear of women.
Mm-hmm.
So, how to avoid becoming resentful and where to study from, even, in your mind?
It's the first thing that you mentioned, you know, how to avoid this type of women as well, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there is big difference. If she's not in love with you, right? You will get the results that Johnny Depp got with Amber Heard, right? But if she's in love with you, she will be a little pretty demon, right? But in the same time, that little pretty demon will consider your existence in her life. She won't. She's not gonna push you too much to the extreme when she will understand that you will leave, right?
Yeah.
But that's the problem of us, men in general, that we have this conqueror mindset, right? So we always want to solve the puzzle to the end, right? And there is, if she's smart enough, she might navigate you to that direction, you know, she might help you, but it's usually not the case. Most of the guys, they have this structure in their head. Okay, she's like this, right? She's completely chaotic and demonic, and that's her beauty, right? And they think, but when I will marry her, when I will have children with her, I can give up and I can be relaxed at home, sitting on my sofa and farting into my
Mm,
beer, can of
mhm.
beer, right? Which is never going to work. I mean, with this women, you always need to be aware, you know. And I mean, yeah, it's very far from definition of what they say, you know, that relationship should be your home. You don't need to work on yourself. You just come there and rest. Yes, it's ideally if you can find it, right? Which is rare.
Mhm.
But usually in this case, you choose comfort, right?
Yeah.
And what was the second part of the question?
Where to study this? Where to learn the nature of women? Because if you ask a
There
straight
is a
out of
lot of
shit.
materials on Lilith archetype, right? Many
Mhm.
people who worked with Jung, they described her archetype. There is also some etymological and historian books on Lilith archetype. And basically, you just, what you need to remember is the story, how it's presented, not in the Bible, right? But in Talmudic stories. It says that Adam had the first wife and it was Lilith, but she was completely independent and partly, I guess, masculine. Um, and that's why they just couldn't get along together. But in the same time, she misses him as that stable. He was too uh, closed in himself, right? Like a stone. But that's what also she misses because the world is very chaotic, right? And after that, she also needs to have her own warriors repose.
Mhm.
And in his case, he was like a typical patriarchal man. For him was
Mhm.
important control, right? No consideration of her feelings and etc. I always say, like, I even said to one of very close friends of mine that if you don't consider her feelings and if you just stay in with her because you hoping that one day you will finally have control over her, that there is no love in that equation. You don't love her, right? I mean, because love is given basically choice to her to do whatever she wants. And it might be not work out with you. Like, I mean, I've been in situation when I basically, I can say like, my decision was like, I love her. And for me, course correct her, right, is too high price. Not for me, because I know how it affects on her. She sees that she's a bad person. She finally sees that mirror, right? And I don't want her to know uh, that
Mhm.
reality that is because it will. I don't have intention to ruin the person, right? So then you get you put yourself from Adam archetype into Lucifer archetype, but the beauty and curse of Lucifer, yeah, he has goals, he has freedom, he has rebellion, but he's the loneliest creature in the world, and that's the price that you pay. It's archetypically very complex point, right? Well, why I
Mhm.
mentioned Lucifer because according to the story that Lilith left to the Lucifer, not we don't know exactly to him or to his tribe because she was like them, right? Well, obviously she never been the demon itself, right? It's later on they
Yeah. A characterization of it
yes.
afterwards.
Well,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it happened to all Greek gods, you know. Astarte, the goddess Astarte became demon Astaroth and etc.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, so then these archetypes and these patterns and these stories and these metaphors actually have a real life application. So really funnily, recently we were at a festival
mm,
in Cluj, the Polka Untold, and perhaps the craziest woman. This is a friend told me this story. So they were backstage when some big DJ was playing, and this woman he described as demon tongue girl, just some girl, crazy girl backstage, wild, crazy, kissing all the girls, grabbing asses, rubbing, and
Don't know her.
no, no, you would know, you would remember, and the craziest story he told me though was that this girl, so there was a couple that was open, and so the girl was asking. Let me think how he said this. While the girl asked like the okay, so yeah, this is this. So there was a girl that asked Demon Tongue Girl, "Hey, isn't my boyfriend so hot? Like, don't you want to come home with us?" Just something like this, right?
Mhm.
The Demon Tongue Girl, from the point of view of the boyfriend, she was telling the girl, "No, I want to bang you," but her finger was literally in his pants, in his ass.
Mhm.
While she was saying, "No, he's really ugly. I want to bang you." So these girls, this is just an illustration, and I don't know if it'll make it to the podcast, but like, there's no limit on how extreme that it can get, and there's a certain charm to it.
Mhm.
Actually, sit and think about it. Like how honest and how fun and how self-expressed and how free is this girl, right? Now, you might destroy some relationships. You might go to jail for public indecency. You might, all these sort of things, right? Where is the line of like, what's the, Sam, you were telling me, there's a line between brilliance and insanity. There's a very fine line, you
Mhm.
know?
And nobody knows, where is that line. That's the point.
Subjective, right? And if you
Because
get caught in,
like I guess even in the case you described, even if she has some kind of other side of not brilliance, right? I mean, it's also can be adorable, right?
yeah,
I mean, we have this very strict perception of what they say in society, about healthy people, healthy people, healthy people. I don't know. I personally, unfortunately, I guess, I don't find healthy people attractive. There is nothing. There is nothing that can stop me on my roads and to contemplate.
really
I mean,
interesting.
I
Wow.
love every of my ex-girlfriends for not being healthy.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was the reason why I loved them. Because there've been something that you don't see on daily basis. You're like, ooh, why? I don't know. I mean, some of the stories. I don't know. Can I tell it on the podcast then, right?
Mm.
And I don't know. Let them be how they are. And if it's attractive to you, jumping in. Fortune helps those who have braveness. Fortune is always the accompany of those who have enough braveness to take risks.
Fortune, who said that? Virgil, right? Fortune
That
favors.
Virgil said it, Caesar said it. But I think it's Greeks first said it. Yeah,
Right.
it's like, I mean, what in the end of the day? Okay, she might. The problem, I think, I mentioned it briefly. Some of the women in our life, they just like they just pass and we don't remember them, right? But some of them become our biography of who we are, and that's what we're afraid.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
then after 10, 20 years you remember who made you the way you are, fuck boy or nice guy or whatever, right? Because I
Mm.
know many fuck boys who became nice guys because of this type of events.
Mm.
Because
That's interesting.
they're always like this. They're like, "Mm-mm-mm, mm-mm-mm."
Yeah. But so it goes both ways. Or
Mhm.
like some nice guy became the most cold-hearted womanizer because of some of one girl that hurt him.
Yeah, there is the only thing, if you really understand who you're dating, it solves half of the problem because then you also, um, You also have desire and compassion for her, so she would find the better space, in her life. Because being like this, there is movie I mentioned before, Partenope, right? Uh, by Sorrentino. Um, Being like this, it doesn't make her happier. They're not happy, this type of women, but they adorable, and it comes always from not fulfillment, in general, I think all of us who seek rebellion, we seek because we're not fulfilled in what we have right now. We didn't learn how to live in that. There is healthy rebellion, right, when you fight in tyrants and etc. But that's not what we're facing right now. And the only thing I can say to all of these guys, it's not become nice guy, but give her enough space that she would start believe that love is possible, life is possible again, as Gogol Bordello sings.
Hmm.
It's
Life is possible. How
life is
beautiful.
possible again.
Wow. Mm.
Because, like, people don't face dark side, and they don't go into the dark side, or they don't start hating world or being disappointed in world if world treated them right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is like a quote I saw today. It was, "You must love in such a way that the other person feels free."
Hmm.
And
Osho said that as well.
also, yeah, in many different ways, many people said something similar,
Hmm.
right? Even Porno says. But there's that paradox of choice, I think, Stan, which you're referring to,
Hmm.
which is, the person knows they can leave, they might not exercise the option to leave. But if you take away their option to leave, they will definitely leave on a long enough timeline.
Yeah, it's also there is some truth in that, definitely, yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
I just don't like when it's black and white and in absolutes.
Yes.
Zan and
Yeah.
Johnny, they usually say things in absolutes. But me, as the writer, I'm observing people a lot, communications of people. Sometimes I just sit in cafeteria, and observe dialogues between people, couples, whatever,
Hmm.
right? And I notice it's not always black and white like this, strictly.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you don't hold her at all, right? Like you give her
Yeah.
complete freedom, she might leave because she doesn't feel loved or seen or chosen.
Wow.
And vice versa as well, there is some man who leaves just because they don't feel that she's choosing him, right?
Hmm.
uh it usually happens when she's completely in her masculine archetype, overworking, running from emotions. And not every woman you can get back there forever, right? You can get back her from this masculine archetype for a week or two, but to sustain that, then the next level comes, right? She feels like, okay, after this 2 3 weeks with this guy, I start falling in love with him. So she builds even more defenses, right? When these defenses appear, she starts to explaining to herself why they appeared. Oh, because he's fuckboy. Oh, because he said something to that person and made me think that he will betray me. It's uh, it's not black and white. Uh,
Yeah.
you might give a lot of freedom. You might give. And it's also there is another question, right? If you won't have your boundaries, and if you don't not gonna say in your, it's exactly coming back to the point of the guy we know that you mentioned before, right? If you don't say to her how her actions impacts on you and relationship, she will continue doing this. But
Hmm.
every time she will double or triple the same
Hmm.
impact that was before. It's the boundaries that you need to put. The risk of that, basically, why people don't do that, right? They're afraid of conflict because that conflict has two weights. One weight is potentially she will understand your boundary and she will stop doing this, or there is second she will leave, right? So most of the guys don't choose this one. They're afraid that she will leave. But think about it. Do you really want to stay in relationship when you're not fulfilled completely? If your woman not fulfills your vision of relationship, do you really want this? And basically then you will understand that you're staying because of fear of loneliness. You're not even dating or married the right person for you.
Hmm.
So it's very, very important to have boundaries always. Not to give up on your boundaries, just in terms of peace, like, oh, I will keep peace at home.
Hmm.
Okay, you will have peace. She will have no peace with the other three guys in the party. I mean, then you won't have peace, right? And it's just as the example, right? It's not necessarily cheating. It can be something else.
Well,
Because
not just banging is cheating, right? You
yes,
can
yes.
hurt way more emotionally for women, anyways.
I think the scariest, I think Zam described in his book that the scariest thing is emotional cheating, right? When we see that person emotionally disconnected from us, it's way more painful than they just physically cheated on us. Women
Although
understand
that,
it way better actually than we do, because for us cheating, every cheating is equal.
yeah,
But what is the big difference? Men are pretty dumb, right? Not everyone. I'm not trying to generalize. We usually when she says, "Oh, this guy I talked yesterday, we're just friends, we talked for hours and etc." Bro, that's the most dangerous thing. If she
mm,
has something to talk for hours with another dude, when she could talk with you for hours, then think about it. And I'm not
yeah.
saying that you need to stop and control her, whatever, but there is something
Mhm.
something says to you.
Well, that ties into some interesting. So to speak generally again,
Yeah.
uh, men are usually more hurt by if their girl had sex with another guy physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the girl sometimes, not always, but you might argue, okay, if it's like if a woman knows that you had sex with a girl, but it was unimportant in terms of it was just sex, there's no emotion there,
Mm-hmm.
can be less harmful or detrimental than you having an emotional connection with another girl. That's a threat. That's a so to roughly and tell me if what you think about this. Then men are more hurt by the physical act, and women are more hurt by emotional connection with another girl. I think,
Yes.
right? Especially if they're both smart.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, it's not black and white, and both apply to both. It's not that men wouldn't be hurt by if their girl had an emotional connection with another guy, or that women wouldn't be hurt if,
There is thing
their
that most of the women, when they get into the physical connection with another guy, most of the women they have also emotional connection before
they
that.
already had the emotional connection
Yes.
first with that guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's why
women. Yeah,
I think for men it's terribly painful and etc. But they don't notice the first step that happens before that emotional connection being established.
yeah,
And you need
yeah,
to ask yourself why she had time and space to establish emotional connection. It's not the problem. Like cheating is the symptom, right? The problem was way before. I mean, you cannot blame crazy driver uh, when car is crashed. You can blame them in the moment when they drive very fast, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because crashed car is the symptom of that.
yeah.
So, and I mean, you don't need to blame her for emotional connection. I mean, it's the tiny moment when you can realize that something going not well in the relationship. She's unfulfilled. That's why she started to talk to other guys and etc. And
Yeah.
now it goes where it goes.
So, Stan, do you think that one guy can be every emotional and physical and dream and fantasy of one woman?
Oh,
You think?
definitely, yes. Yes, of course. It's just the pain in the ass to be that guy forever and always and every day on daily basis.
Right. Because how do you not let that get in the way of what you are trying to build and achieve in your own life?
I mean, if you dedicate it to your relationship more than to anything else in your life, you will achieve that most likely, right? There is also
Maybe.
most likely, right? And I mean, not in terms of being nice guy and being dedicated, it means being smart enough also. Yeah, you completely 24/7 hours dedicated to relationship, but so they would be sustainable enough. You need to be dedicated to the journey outside of
Mhm.
outward journey, right? I mean, it's your business, career, whatever, art, who cares? Of course, it's possible. I know many couples who have beautiful, great relationship, and basically they women look at them like to the god, by any means. They really believe their man is the hottest one, he's the smartest one, he's funniest one, he's the most understanding, etc. Of course, but that's
The re-
working because then you cover not just the one part of the equation, you're not just arousing guy. you cover in other parts, which is to sustain on daily basis. It's very, very difficult.
Mhm.
And I can say that for myself, like, despite the fact how many times I tried, it's very difficult to sustain this on everyday basis, because some shit will happen into your life, you know, something in your family might happen, something with your business and etc. And you will realize that you cannot be that person always. Your nervous system doesn't have capacity anymore and enough energy to sustain that.
Mhm.
But yes, it's possible. But I know where your question leads.
Well, there's again, like, so I think to transition a bit, a recent exploration that we've run into is that there's a gap between a philosophical understanding of a thing and an embodied understanding of a thing when it collides with your nervous system. So you can
Yes.
understand it's the ideal self and the real self, as
Yes.
our good friend Armin says, right? And so to walk the bridge, but there's often moments of not battle, but inflection points, or where if you avoid the situation where your growth could happen, of course you could be hurt from that situation, right? But
Hmm.
that could also be where your growth could happen.
Hmm.
What's the downside of that, Stan? To like when you have a moment that you know could be your greatest triumph or your greatest despair, do you walk into it anyways? Because you have to, in a sense, right? Or do you think sometimes it's better not even to test it?
I can say for myself that I'm dumb enough that I've been always jumping into
Yeah,
the
I feel the same way.
riskiest situations
Yes, yeah.
by every means. And I mean, life's somehow been telling me like, bro, now look at this. What do you really need that? And I mean, I don't know. I can say the only thing that I really big believer that somehow destiny, journey, life will take care of you.
Mm,
Somehow, you know. I mean, I can give you example. You might, oh, it's basically you will recognize the story. You might be not certain about the relationship with the girl, right? You don't know what she feels. You don't know can you build it together. You know about yourself, your feelings, your visions with her, right? You travel to another country because of her, and then you see that everything fell apart. So you can have two options, right? You can be sad that it didn't work out and etc., or you can do your best out of these last 2 days in town, as you did in Istanbul, right? You went out and you've been calling me from the clubs, and that's the
I
thing.
love.
I think this is the best view on the world. Okay, world is on fire, and what should I do? Also to sit in front of this fire and cry? You can enjoy the fire. You can look at this fire, or you can go to the places that not burning yet. And yeah, in my case, I many times I traveled because of girlfriends to other places when I wasn't certain, will it work out, how it goes. Mostly it worked out well, but it was no certainty at all, like zero questions, zero answers. Thousands questions, zero answers. That's how was it.
Mhm.
But you do this, you know, because I'll tell you, I do at least because of one simple reason. For me, there is nothing worse than having regrets that I didn't do that. I see
Mhm.
myself as the coward who decided, I know, I'm not gonna test these waters again, you know. Okay, you pragmatic, smart, realist, and what? And now you're fucking lonely and sad and heartbroken and thinking, oh, it could work out actually. Okay, good for you. You paid your price. So no, I definitely big believer. Take risks by any means. Even if you see like completely Lilith archetype goal, right? And you saying to yourself, well, I need to go like this that site and avoid her, etc. Boring. What stories you will tell to your grandchildren?
Unless, unless you have the been down that path enough times to know that there's nothing in
Yeah,
it for
I
you.
think that's what I've been telling you, right? I used to say. Now I think I don't think it goes away.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. So you could always go deeper, but you can make a conscious choice if something else becomes more important or more valuable or more fruitful for you than to go down those rabbit holes, which is maybe your case right now, Stan.
You don't
Would you
need
say?
to, when you encounter this type of women for a couple years, you don't even need to go anywhere anymore because you kind of become attuned to them and they recognize you right away and
Mm.
you recognize them right away. And
Mm.
across the rooms, you imagine, there might be 1,000 people sitting and you looked at her,
Wow.
she looked at you, and you know each other. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's my
Well,
friend.
maybe Stan, let's say if you ran into one of those girls again, that she wouldn't even be that. So to some other guy, she might be a Lilith archetype, but to you, she's just a sweet housewife, quote unquote. One man's alabaster girl is another man's one night stand, quote unquote,
Wow, that's cool description.
right?
It's very
Because she knows she doesn't need to play the games with you at all. She can transcend all of that now with millionaires, billionaires, guys that haven't devoted their lives to studying the poetics and the lived poetry of women. That yeah, of course she's gonna play their games and take their money and destroy their emotions and their entire future. But with you, she does. She knows she doesn't have to. As a
Well, not
uh,
really. She will play the game, but game is
well,
gonna be different because
okay,
now she understands that you have options. You know
yeah,
how to get other women. So she
yeah,
will play a
yeah.
different game, how to
Okay,
keep you there.
really interesting.
No, these women they never rest, man. I mean, they always in the game. They're great women. They're very smart, they're intelligent. Their brain is so smart that they never rest.
Yeah,
It's the same as our brain. We cannot relax. We always demand
but
from ourselves.
do you think they always have to be a solo, or can they actually be on a team and for example work with you towards some objective, quote unquote?
Oh,
Or do
you
they
have
have?
this example. I think you can tell better.
Well, I mean, an example I think of is a girl that I love very dearly. She was always the player,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then now she, I mean, roughly speaking, these are just words. Now she feels like um, she's not that position this time.
Yeah.
She's
I
not the
think
self
you feel the
responsibility.
same.
Yeah, sure. It's like mutual. Right? It's not a competition, but it's like a new feeling that needs to be explored, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a girl that well, it's maybe also like for these women, Stan, maybe they just didn't meet a man whose reality was strong enough for them to or the world or universe for them to fall into,
You're right.
and that's why they are like that.
Yes, it's one of the most important elements, yes. But the second very important element, this type of women, they used to control their life at least,
Mhm.
right? So they very much aware that the moment she's fallen in love, she is not in control anymore, right? And
Mhm.
that's what scares them very much. So there is the second level when they once things go very vulnerable and very deep, little demon might come back. And again,
Mm.
it's your choice. You can punish this little demon or you can caress this little demon.
Mm.
So, exactly.
Oh, you're so cute. You just run down in my apartment. So, Sam, what would you say your experience with these kinds of women added to your writing, to your life
Everything,
experience,
everything.
to the way that you
They,
see the
they,
world?
they, they made me, uh, the person who I am today, I became thanks to them.
Mm.
The person that I'm proud to be. Because
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
I could have an option and saying like, oh, this bitch has traumatized me. No, no way. First of all, I know that it never been the intention. None of them had this intention to do that. It was defense mechanisms, and they've been scary.
Mhm.
They've been doing some things that I guess 99% of men would leave, right? I was, I'm very empathetic towards women. I adore them.
Great.
So you
Wow.
have
Yeah.
you have always option, right? You can see only the bad side of what happened. Uh, and yes, it might be painful and hurtful and etc. But in the end of the day, once emotions calms down, right? Couple months after she left or you left her, right? You start seeing that you developed into something beautiful. Not that she helped you, no. She was doing extremely opposite things. But if
Well,
you self-aware man, right? You will
yeah.
see yourself as the wow,
You
that's
take the experience and use it to help yourself that she created in a sense, right?
yes.
And it seems like you have a great appreciation and gratitude for these women instead of it would be easy to blame them and hate them and you wouldn't be wrong for doing so, right? Except you just have a much more constructive and forward moving approach to it because you view it as a gift and a blessing, not a curse or a punishment. I feel like Stan.
Uh, I
Same.
I wouldn't even say that's curse or whatever. No, no, just
Mhm.
pure beauty, beauty.
Yeah.
You know, there is white beauty. I'm not talking about colors right now. You know, bright
Mm.
white beauty that everyone recognizes. It's a Apollonic type of things, you know, that have symmetry and etc. I don't like this bullshit. I like dark beauty, dark diamond that shines and you don't know what is inside. It might fucking kill you there inside, but you go there.
Pandora's box.
Beauty in that.
Yeah.
There is no symmetry. She might be furious, and you know, one of the my ex-girlfriends cut my hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I adore that. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely cuckoo and traumatized, but
You are.
in my opinion, if people don't have in their relationship, what the fucking boring life they live. If she's not jealous about you going somewhere, if she's not trying to kill you when you piss her off, if you completely calm and fine and know that nothing you need to worry about her being with the girlfriend. See, if she doesn't arouse this emotion in you, then you don't care about her. She doesn't care about you. It's way cooler when you have this ocean of emotions in your relationship. And there is the thing you asked about art. I think I gave you this quote a long time ago. I think you can better say,
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's the best quote of all time. Men don't write poetry about housewives. Yeah,
yes,
from you, from
yeah.
when I met you, like 2 years ago.
That's my point. Like, I mean, I
It's
mean
almost exactly 2 years ago, by the way, Stan. As
today.
we record this, I'll check after.
Could
Interesting.
be. Yeah. So
Yeah, how's the discussion
yeah,
going? And but Stan, where would you say you're now? Because I feel like you're at a point where you can decide the color of the yacht you want as it comes to this. Like you can choose to go down that path or you can choose not to go down that path, not from ignorance, but you really learned a lot of it's like there's a point you reach of diminishing returns. I think of Zan's journey. He didn't say he learned everything about women. He learned everything he wanted to learn about
yeah.
women. Would you say that you're at this point, but actually maybe it doesn't need to be black and white and you decided no more. It's like case by case, maybe. You might meet her tonight or tomorrow or in Colombia when we go, Stan, or in China, right? You might
It's
find yourself
interesting.
compelled to go through that adventure in a deeper way than you have before, knowing everything you know now
It's very
at some point.
interesting that you mentioned Zan's quote because I mean, when the first time I heard this, I was also kind of
Skeptical.
and
Oh,
yeah, that's the point. I'm still skeptical. How do you know that you learned exactly much as you needed to learn about them? Because I, I don't know. I feel like whenever I encounter women, I have no clue. And I mean, I don't feel like uh, I will ever reach the point when I understand enough about them. I don't want to reach this point
mm,
because it gives you a lot of satisfaction, I guess, right? uh,
yeah.
uh, Feeling that there is still mystery about her
Mm,
in general, right? So
yeah.
I wouldn't want even to limit myself with this idea. It's the same about art, you know. I would never want to have complete version of what I want from my art. It's better not to know how you want to create. You know, Brodsky used to say the previous line creates the next line when you
Yeah.
write. So
Yeah.
that's the most interesting thing. I don't know where I am. I mean, I have no clue, but I'm still very curious about women and what I try to say. Um, it's definitely what I realized for me is important to have balance. I mean, of having woman who has a lot of intensity, but that potentiality, right? But in the
Mhm.
same time, I need tranquility to write about her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Push to be smart enough to give me space and calmness and tranquility to write. So that's
Or
the
just have
difficult balance.
But
They,
even though tranquility and serenity and peace is so important to you, It's still not fully enough.
That is never gonna be enough, you know. I think that's why people go to monasteries or indulge into religions and etc. Our nervous system is created the way always sounding alarms. So that's why
Yeah.
people drink, that's why people overwork, that's why people avoid making money, setting goals. It's just not to think about these alarms that running right now, you know, here. So yeah, I mean, it's just like whenever I think about this question, what is the most important is intensity and beauty of Black Diamond in relationship or my art. I know that if I'm 70 or 80 years old and I know that I wasted my art, I will regret this more than the fact that I maybe lost the woman of my dreams of my life or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
just that personally for me is there is nothing more important and more interesting and more dear than writing. But for other people might be differently. Yesterday I actually have seen very cute video of a gay couple in the 80s. They've been walking street in New York and holding hands of each other, and the interviewer asked them, "How did you met, guys?" And one of them says, "Oh, I just seen him and he was so hot." And the second says, "No, I actually like it because he has beautiful heart, you know." And
Mm-hmm.
and that's made me think that love is the most powerful thing in the world because it connects everyone on like I can even though I love women more than everything else in the world and I'm only interested in women, right? But I in that moment I understood what they feel because I
Mm-hmm.
experienced this in my life
Mm-hmm.
when I met the woman that was dear to my heart, right? I was on the same and I was like, wow, that's all we need. We need just to have real love, right? Being risky enough to jump into this life love because it connects every being on this earth.
Yeah.
And I felt like, wow. For me, I'm not saying anything, but for me, it was completely different world that I don't know much about, you know, gay couples. I mean, and in that moment I understood them completely. I was like, oh, we have so much in common. I can
Yes.
talk with them about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Because maybe
answering your
universal.
question, I don't know. I mean, I'm a big believer of love, soulmates and etc.
Mm-hmm.
And good bangings.
A good bang. Mhm. Well, they said love without sex is as hollow as sex without love. I
Yeah.
forgot who said it.
Hunter Thompson.
Oh yeah.
Crazy guy.
Well, that's a funny thing, I suppose, because every week we talk and it comes back to the same point, which is love is kind of the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
A life without love is no life at all. I think said Hank Moody
Mhm.
when right before Lou Ashby overdosed, right? Uh, there is no life without love. None worth living, anyways, is the way he said it. Um, right
Waste.
before, like, I mean, Stan, that was such a powerful. When's the last time you watched the show,
Californication.
Californication? Yeah, been a few years for me.
Yeah. For me too. 2, 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
like if you can, so to summarize the situation very quickly, because I think it's worth discussing. The guy, Lou Ashby, brilliant music producer, everything he touched turns to gold. And has this one woman, no matter how many girls he gets after losing her, cannot fill the hole. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
nothing comes close. And he gets a chance to get her back thanks to the work of
Yes.
Mr. Hank Moody, right? They had this cool, like, swapping thing. And because he knows he has the opportunity to get her back, because he fucked up so many times, he drove a car into her house, he did everything terribly wrong,
Yes.
but she still had that romanticism or that, well, what if this time is different? He just goes and consciously or unconsciously does too much and just dies without right like right before he has the possibility of things perhaps working out that time forever. This romanticism, and Karen described Hank as like, you see us as this great love story for the ages, and there really is that sort of belief, you know. But then
Yes.
there's also the self sabotage. What if it's too good to be true? What if it's not the right person? What if it's
Mm-hmm.
not the right time? Infinite overthinking reasons that we come up with.
Yes,
Wow.
but chase love. I mean, there is
Yeah.
nothing you will regret more than losing the person with who it could work out. And plus, I mean, I don't want to say like this, but I think I'm old enough to say that women will always doubt that it will work out. So it's
Mm.
your role to prove again and again that it will work out.
Yeah.
It's your
To
role to
assure
put this fucking last train for her.
him.
Okay, you might regret it didn't work out. Happens.
Yeah.
But at least there is also good thing in that. You will know that you tried your best. You won't have regret that I could try, but I decided not to. That's very important. This is the shittiest regret in your life. Wake up in your 60s and like, fuck, I lost this girl when I was 25. It's shittiest regret. Imagine like she was. I mean, I still follow this page. It's in Russia. They go to old people and they ask, "Can you share a story of your biggest love of your life?" Right? And you know what I found out? At least the biggest. I don't know, 90%, but the very biggest part of these people, they ended up not with the person they loved the most.
Yeah.
And some of them saying I was too stubborn, I was too harsh, and etc. So it wasn't like just that person didn't love them, right? Or they didn't love them. It was just like obstacles that people didn't navigate and they lost what they really, that was the most important part of their life. And they regret in their 80s, 70s. So do you really want this? For me, there is nothing more terrible than this regret, to wake up in my, even in 50s, and to realize that, well, it maybe it was the love of your life. I mean, I can tell you some of the breakups that happened to me, and I was going out massively to fill that gap. They didn't help at all. It was just like, well, I was even more pissed off. I was like, I don't have the same connection. I cannot talk with them about the same things we used to talk, right? And that's very, very different from what seduction community used to portray.
More is better, right?
Yes, yes, because
Yeah.
there is as Dan describes, might be beauty, might be seduction, might be success with women, might be money, but love is above all of them. Imagine like the love basically gives you opportunity to restart your life again. When you're really in love, you feel like, okay, that period finally ended. Here is new life starts.
Rebirth.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's a very rare feeling, and many people of their fears, stubbornness, they lose that. But sometimes I might give very good example, not example, but advice to the guys, and I think they will follow that. Sometimes it's enough one person to make it work.
Wow. Is that in a sense like if the man leads excellently enough, the woman doesn't need coaching, quote unquote, right? As we've discussed over the years, like
Hmm?
if men lead properly, then women don't need to do dating coaching and stuff like this to get their man to whatever, right? If you just
Yes,
train the man properly, kind
yes,
of.
yes. Because I think seduction community had one kind of good advice, but in the same time harmful, right? They used to say you always need to be ready to live first, right? There is a lot of strength into that, but also you might underestimate that that girl could already been left by someone pretty much in the same circumstances, and you might reopen this wound, in her, and instead of running to you, as they used to say, she might just give up completely on man, world, love, and etc. To close herself even more. So it's better than to follow all of these advices. The best thing, in my opinion, is just to be empathetic. And to think sometimes, I'm the man, I will be fine anyway, you know. She's the girl and I want to help her, to navigate this difficult, dark world. I want her life be easier, I want her to experience this life. And it's it's the only life she has, right? So I want her to get best out of this life, right? And
Well, so sorry to interrupt here because there's this idea of this idea, if it's like telling a girl, hey, between you and me suffering, between you and me getting hurt, it should be me getting hurt or me suffering, right? It's
yes,
not that women need to be sheltered
no,
or rescued or saved but I just think like if someone has to suffer, how do you draw the line between like you not throwing your entire future and self away just so she suffers a bit less? But there's a good way and a bad way to do it, I think.
yes, good
And that's
way,
also why I
good way
stand
is
like sorry,
communication.
communication. Well, I was just gonna conclude with that, like you and I have such a soft spot for girls that have been through a shitty, terrible life,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
and like all the forms of that, right? Because
Because they're like us in many things. I think when we started to go out together, me and you told me that we like freak girls.
yeah,
You said that the girls we like, they're kind of freaky. That's what you
yeah,
said, I think.
yeah, they're outcasts and
They're
misfits.
outcasts and misfits as
Yeah,
well. And and
yeah,
uh,
shitty life.
and for me, it's the most interesting and most beautiful people and the most talented people always. And answering on your question, right, when you need to draw the line is that um, never cheat on her because you, unless you had agreements, it's another story. Because you will reopen trauma if for her it's something that she never expected from you or she hoped that you're not that guy, right, and etc. And communicate. Say how her actions impacts on you. Don't leave her in this unaware situation that she had no clue why you left, because that's the scary thing. Then the person just stops believing in the relationship. What explanation you can find in silence? It just didn't work out. So instead of giving up on shitty behavior, people give up on love, right? So communicate and communicate and explain. Yes, her pussy might dry out for 1 week because it's not sexy when man communicates. But if you love her, communicate. It's very like guys are so I'm talking right now about womanizers. They're so fucking stubborn. Okay, she's not like this. I'll leave her. Okay, good for you. And then 5 years after, he says to me, "Bro, I still cannot live without her. I banged so many women, I cannot forget her, forgive her, or forget, forgive her." And I'm like, "Bro, why is surprised right now? You had an option to communicate, not to give up right away. Of course, if it was very disrespectful, she did something that hurt you, sincerely hurt you, right? You have a choice to close yourself, I don't know, to block, to cut the contact for some time. But usually, if it was the conflict, right, when it was obvious, you don't need to explain anything, right? But don't create new traumas. Don't create this situation. I mean, don't leave her with the feeling that she's unloved. That's what I would say. Even in the shittiest conflict, make sure that she knows that you love her.